Hello, welcome to Mystic Frequency. I'm Lisa, and I'm a collective tarot reader, oracle reader, and I'm excited to reveal this topic today. So, this is a topic about what the collective's sacral needs are. And I encourage those who have never explored the chakra system, or if you just want a little bit more guidance, then this is a reading that is here for you to kind of break the ice, if you will. And I want everyone to be able to take this at their own time. So this reading will be broken down into parts. And what you don't, so if this reading ends up becoming too long for you, you can come back to it in parts where we break down parts until we finish to the end. And the last thing we will do at the end of this reading is give a guided meditation. That way you can really feel what it is your body is trying to reveal for you in this moment, so you can allow more flow to come naturally in your life. But without further ado, let me kind of talk about, what is the sacral? If I don't butcher, it's Sanskrit. It's Svadhisthana, and it means one's own abode. It is the second of 7 main chakras, and it governs your ability to flow naturally in life, kind of like what I said earlier. These areas include your sense of pleasure, the feeling of creativity, and being able to explore that cloud, your emotions, if they are blocked. It makes me think of like a clogged dam or something that is flooding like an unchecked river. So this is helping you kind of check that flow. It's helping you look at your ability to experience your own sensuality and even your sexual energy. So whether or not you may have a low or high libido. Balance is key in every single chakra level. And this is just one of the parts that we are exploring. So imagine that you have water in front of you, because this is what this chakra is governing, if you will. It's fluid, it's flexible, it's able to mold to the container that it is being poured into. So I do recommend, if you have not been meeting your water needs, one of the best things you can do to really take care of your sacral is by taking in some water. Drink a little bit of fluid, and movement is key as well. So if you need to pause this video so you can get up and kind of like move your legs, move your hips, so that way, you don't block some of that sense off. Now, when it is balanced, it is very vibrant and it's full of possibility. There is emotional resilience. It's a creative flow. It's like all these ideas are pouring in and out of me, and I'm able to take my hard days, my difficulties, my anything that feels like a burden, I'm able to deal with on a much more regular basis. When it's unbalanced, you feel uninspired. You start to feel emotionally numb, creatively stuck. You may be overly anxious, detached. You may even have guilt around joy or have low libido. Now, if you don't know what area or of the body that it pertains to, think of 2 inches below your navel, your lower abdomen, or even in the inner pelvis area. Now, as I go through the chakra system, because I will be doing a reading for each of them, always remember that there will be different viewpoints on the system. Just like tarot, where one interpretation may be different from another person's interpretation. Take what resonates and do further research before just taking one thing you hear and running with it. One of the teachers or meditation guides that I love listening to is Linda Hall. I love her and will recommend her to anybody that is exploring the system. She actually has a 30-day chakra system. And if you don't have 20 minutes to spare, find 20 minutes to spare, out of your day so you can explore it, because it is a psychology at the end of the day. It really is. At the end of this reading, you are more than welcome to participate in that meditation, but I will also kind of talk about some other ways in which you can support the chakra and hopefully find something that works for you. This reading for the collective is meant to be a form of self-study and create confidence in finding their own flow. Any advice that I give today is purely from experience and how I have dived into this own sacral chakra before I do a reading for the collective. I throw myself in the waters to see how it will feel for me, how some of the things you might experience. And one of the things that I discovered about myself was I had the biggest dam keeping back a reserve of emotions that I did not realize had a lot of cracks. And I was one release away from a big emotional outburst. And you never realize what you're carrying until you actually check in with those areas. But only take the advice if it resonates. And, if you need professional help, seek it, especially when you are dealing with extreme issues, especially around trauma or blockages. Thank you for holding space today for these messages that, if they don't apply to you, that you're holding them for another person that is desperately seeking this message. Don't force the reading to be yours if it doesn't. If it helps and it does resonate, or if it starts to sound like someone I encourage you to share this reading. It's out there so that way we can all be students and teachers. And if you find something that has helped you or ways in which you work with your sacral, please let me know in the comments, because I want to provide as much positive feedback, not just for the collective, but for myself as well. So that way I can try new things that may help me or open up new doors, if you will. And I'm excited to see what wisdom this is going to bring out of this reading. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of break down how this tarot spread will lay out. And I will kind of hopefully y'all can just mind my writing. So if you can't see it, I'm sorry. So the first card we're breaking down is my current waters, your current waters, the collective's current waters. What is the state of the collective sacred or sacral energy right now? This shows up if it is flowing, if it is stagnant, flooded, or dried up. The second card we're going to reveal is the block or dam. What is restricting the collective's creativity, pleasure, or emotional flow? This can either be from guilt, fear, old stories, feeling burnt out. And that was actually one of the things I didn't realize I was going through, was my own burnout whenever I was talking about that dam. And then the third card is the spring. What source can the collective tap into to replenish themselves? This is your personal well of joy, inspiration, or sensuality. This could be a person, a practice, or even a part of yourself. The fourth card is the dance. How can the collective embody more flow after this reading? The action card. This is your movement, ritual, or mindset to unblock. And sometimes you'll even see, whenever you're doing these kind of readings, it can talk a lot about hip opening, being creative, or even water related. And then the fifth card, the overflow. What becomes possible when the collective sacral chakra becomes balanced? The gift, what you create, feel, or attract. The last card, I didn't put it on here, is the broom of the deck, what is being swept up, to kind of clear hopefully any misunderstandings, or if there was something your subconscious was trying to help you flow more with, if that makes sense, if I can even speak. Now, I do want to get into the reading, but I almost forgot to kind of like talk about, when you're trying to develop a routine of any kind that is supposed to propel you in a positive direction to be the best version of yourself. And one of the things that I came across was specifically from this reading. So, if you are someone that struggles with routines, one of the best things you can do to make it more ritual is to make it sacred, or in this sense, we're using that sacral aspect of this reading. And the difference between routine and ritual, it's not what you do, it's how you are doing it. And so one of the biggest things you can do is the 5 S's to sacralize any routine. Name the intention, which is sanctify. So you're going to sanctify it. That is the first thing. Before you start any kind of routine, pause 3 seconds. Say it out louder in your head. This shower cleanses my energy. This tea steeps my patience. This walk moves my emotions through me. By naming it, you're telling your nervous system that this matters. This routine you're trying to build matters. The second sense is sense. Drop into one sense when you are starting your routine. Routines have a tendency to go numb. Rituals wake you up. So pick one sense to anchor it. So if you enjoy coffee like I do, feel the mug's warmth. Maybe even smell the beans that come off the coffee before you're sipping. Or if you have a lot of kids that make a lot of laundry, as you're folding the laundry and you're thinking about, oh my gosh, I just need a big hug to get through all this, touch the texture, thank the fabric for holding you in this space. This is blending your body plus the task. The third thing you can do is to create a symbol. Add one tiny sacred object. It needs to be useful, but beautiful. This can be a candle that you put by the sink while you're doing dishes, or if you like to use orange crystals, carnelian crystals can be used and placed by your desk when you're going through emails, creating artwork, or whatever the case may be, but putting something very beautiful. And whenever you're doing a meditation or you're checking in with your chakra system, use a cup that you only use for sacred water after meditation. I actually have this blue cup in my bathroom that looks like a goblet, so that way I'm able to drink it and imagine that I'm able to express more freely. I'm able to communicate my needs without feeling fear or retaliation, if you will. And then the object here is that it's cueing your brain that you're entering a ritual space. The fourth S is slow. Do everything you're doing 5% slower. Everything you try to do with speed just strips the meaning. So when you're making yourself oatmeal in the morning, stir it 3 extra times. Or if you're going to your mailbox and you have a tendency to always be on your phone when you're checking the mail, leave it behind you. That way you can breathe, and whatever message that you were trying to send or a conversation you're trying to present, you can give yourself that pause. Slow is how you pour between worlds. And lastly, seal it. Any routine that you do that you're trying to make ritual and more sacred, seal it after you have completed it and close it with gratitude. Routines have this ability to leak energy because we never close them. So allow yourself to end them with, an example would be like, whenever I eat a meal, you put your hand on your belly and you say, this is complete. I am nourished. What I've eaten, it may take time for it to digest, but this is going to nourish me in the long run. Or whenever you are in your meditation space, blow out a candle or ring a bell. Exhale audibly. This says the cycle has finished. We're safe now to flow to the next thing. But the biggest secret here, and the reason why I am sharing this with y'all, is it's not about adding time. This is asking, can you be 10% here for what you are already doing? Can you add more you in the to-dos? And one of the things I've always struggled with in my life was picking a routine, sticking with it, and it not becoming numb, just kind of like what I've said, where it's like it becomes a burden at the end of the point. So this reading is a benefit for your mind, your body, your spirit. It's cultivating a lot of different psychological needs that may need to be met. But hopefully by the end of this reading, you'll find a lot more flow and feel more confident in your life. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this reading. And we're going to focus on the state of your sacral energy right now, what the collective's sacral energy is feeling. So if you don't mind, I'm going to kind of cover that up. But this is the sun, and it is in reverse, but I kind of want y'all to see the artwork here in place. So the first thing I feel whenever I see this is your sacral energy may feel as if it is dried up. Like the sun feels like it's about to burn out and is having difficulty radiating in this card. The sun, especially when it is in reverse, often talks about your inner child's needs may not have been met or neglected. And the sun is using this opportunity to kind of illuminate how you may be turning your back and letting the horse kind of rage through, because this makes me think of primal instincts, if you will. But if you also notice, kind of in this background, we have these sunflowers kind of in the back, and they're trying to turn to your inner child for healing. But it's almost like you're denying that to stay on the only road you've known. It's like you're on this horse and it's the only thing you've ever known. And just as this horse kind of picks up a scent, it's like, oh, something has caught my attention. And rather than kind of doing what I need to do in this moment, I'm kind of just letting things kind of burn up or dry out, because this really does make me think that there's a period of burnout here where you're not feeling as positive or creative, vibrant, or playful as you used to. And this can even mean the collective at this point is feeling very serious, just like this horse is very serious the way it looks. And spirit is here trying to say, I want you to start trusting more when you are being led to water. And whenever I was trying to navigate through this card, I was feeling a lot of, it was like heat was just radiating. I feel dried up. I feel as if I need moisturizer. I probably walked out and didn't even think about putting sunscreen on. But if you've never watched the movie or read the book Holes, I encourage you to read that, because I feel like there is a significant message here that the collective can kind of take when your sense of being is put to the test. Because anytime you think of the sun card, it makes me think of your own astrology sign. And if you were able to actually be authentic in your sign's autopilot mode, if you will, at least that's what I explore all of astrology. But whenever I'm looking into my own star chart, I am looking at the ways in which maybe I have been running on autopilot my entire life. And I'm no longer having fun. And I need to do something about the direction in which I am going. But my mouth feels very parched, but I'm also sensing there are too many distractions that are preventing this listener from meeting their needs. It's like what seems to be juicy or give energy actually passes off as a mirage. This is probably my energy drink collective. And I mean, if you love energy drinks, I was a big energy drinker whenever I worked overnight and I worked um in retail. Like I drank a lot just to keep myself energized. And I probably did not drink as much water as I should have. And if you do work overnights, this could be a sign that you need to kind of step out into the sun so you can get some of your regular vitamin D. Is that, no, that's, I don't know, whatever the vitamin is that you need from the sun to really help support your immune system. But just like the sun is a star, this also makes me think of, the star in tarot. When you become burnt out, this is a time to go within to find the healing elixirs that you need and to pour and mix what gives and sustains your hope right now. And but this is an opportunity to, like, if this is how you kind of like show up at work or in your relationships, and it is visibly, it's like you can tell, like, I'm trying to be positive about everything that is going on right now, but it's like one point from being oh gosh, what is that term for when a star goes out? Oh gosh, a nova explosion? No, that's probably wrong. But you get what I mean. It's like this card is basically saying, like, there is such a thing as being pessimistic to the extreme and being overly optimistic. But this is an opportunity for you to really look at what your inner child wants you to do so you can play more and be more authentic in those that are around you. And anytime I see a card that talks about the inner child, I always pull out my inner child oracle. But let me go ahead and hide the child's butt. There we go. So your inner child need right now for the collective is disappointment is not the end. It is okay to be disappointed. It is okay to make mistakes. We do the best that we can with the knowledge that we have, but not everything will always turn out as we hope. This is a part of life, and though it may feel like the end, it most certainly is not. Do not let disappointments or the fear of disappointment keep you from enjoying your life. And the affirmation for this card is, I am total divine. I'm sorry if I took that out of the picture for y'all. Here, I'll put it over here if y'all can see it. But I am total divine. And whenever I hear this affirmation, it is basically saying, even when you do make mistakes, even when there are disappointments, you are still a part of divinity. You are still a part of the greater cosmos fabric, and that this period you are weaving or creating is helping you address the needs in your life that may be stagnant, the needs that are no longer flowing for you. If you found you were someone that used to be able to do something with ease and now you're starting to be bored by it, or it becomes more difficult, this is a great time to add more play, just as the divine would do. Leading into our second card, the block or dam. What is restricting the collective's flow? What is restricting the listener's flow? So we have the Fool upright. And normally when I see the Fool, it is a positive card when it is upright. But in this instant, based on the imagery and what I got from this card, was it's like someone who, and this now, this can either be a version of you or the people that you allow around you that kind of tell you what you should start or begin. But it's the I know what's best for me or you fill in the blank mentality. It's, oh wow, see the sun watching. So we have the sun over here, and it's like the sun has been radiating and has been trying to share all of the positivity and the inspiration to look at things a different way. And now they're kind of, the sun is in the background kind of like watching, and you see the right eye, and the right eye shows what can be seen, because it makes me think, because I like to divide the symmetry of the body between one side being feminine and the other being masculine. And so the right eye shows like what can be seen, and the left is what can be felt, or what your intuition is trying to kind of like reveal in this moment. And in this image, I see a person disregarding the risks that come from new beginnings, or not sensing the red flags, which the sun card, one of the things that tarot reveals with the sun is that it normally has a red flag in normal Rider-Waite tarot, and has the ability to show you what the other cards are trying to show you that could be a red flag. But this fool right here is making a fool out of a situation, a person, or self. And when when she leaps, whoever this person is, when they leap, they really leap. And the nose here reminds me of Pinocchio, but instead of others seeing the nose, it's hidden. You close your eyes just so that way you don't see how far it goes. And I'm trying not to offend anybody, because this can be somebody around you that exhibits this kind of personality here. And it's just trying to be illuminated how this person who may disregard your needs, who constantly starts new things, and you're having to go along with the ride. You're having to, they say they're going to do something, but do they actually do it? Do they follow through with it? And if this is something that you can find in yourself where it's really hard to stick to a routine, or when a job becomes bogged down, or there's not as much play anymore, or things become stagnant. That's what I'm feeling. It's like when things become stagnant, burnt up, and you feel burnt out on something, it's like, I'm going to walk away from it. And you were this close to seeing it change if you had stayed. Or in this case, it's this other person who hasn't developed resilience, or whenever they start to see the negative side of things, it causes them to walk away completely, regardless of where they're walking off into the ledge. There was a conversation, my husband's, he's a family friend of my husband's family, and he was talking about how in his generation, you never really seen anybody stop and start a career and jump to the next thing without having a backup plan. And there was a person that was really, really young, maybe in his early 20s. And now, mind you, the family friend is in their late 50s. And he's like, well, I'm tired of doing the same thing each and every day. It doesn't matter how much the pay is. I'm going to go find something different. And the family friend asked him, well, do you got bills to pay? Do you have a job set up already before you move on to the new thing? Or do you got kids you have to support? Do you have, he was asking a lot of things about this gentleman's life. And I don't know if from that realization, if that helped him kind of think about things more clearly. But, even whenever I worked in retail, I seen that quite a bit where it's it is easy to stop something and begin something new when you're tired of it. But when you don't have a plan in place to help you keep the dam from becoming even worse, especially when it's something very deep and personal within you, then it's creating a fool out of a situation, which is making it look very dumb. If that I really This is making me think that there is someone around the collective right now, whether this is a friend, a family member, who it's like they're constantly trying new things and new things and new things, and they're trying to find happiness, but it's like they can't find happiness because they're trying to define or outlive beyond their means, if you will. That's what that this is starting to come. And I know this is like becoming a rambling session because I have my notes wrote out, and then all of a sudden I felt like talking about this coworker, but this can be a block. New beginnings that are started without execution can be a block. And if this is like when there's like a sense of failure or a fear of not meeting everybody's expectations, it can make you want to stand on the edge of this cliff and just kind of like smell the roses for a little bit and play with the thought. And then the instant something negative pops up in your mind and says, oh, yep, that's not for me. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stand right here. But this is telling me this is something that has grew over time. And in the beginning, with the inner child, so the inner child barely has a nose. So how your parents stayed in their jobs or how the adults around you persevered and were resilient really helps shape and mold how you are going to be resilient in your life. And if this is something that you need to heal, this is one way you can start meeting that need and learning new ways to sense, but are understanding what foolish senses are when you make a fool of yourself or when you notice other people are making a fool of themselves. The red and the blue makes me think of fire and water, where it's like a constant tea kettle that is on a burner, where it becomes upset the instant that you start planting something. Like this is someone that starts a garden and they stick something in the ground and then walk away from it only to produce one rose, and they're like, well, that didn't do anything. And the 1% of a good result, because you started it, you began it, it was like, I'm going to throw that 1% away, and then you're back to 0%, the fool here. There's a quote from a book I am currently reading by Failing, or not by Failing, but it's by John C. Maxwell, and it's called Failing Forward. And if there is something that you could begin right now, I encourage the listener to, pick up that book or maybe Google and see like the main parts and the main things from that book. But there was a quote by a man, his name is Jerome Bruner, and he said, you are more likely to act yourself into feeling than feel yourself into action. And so it makes me think of the fake it till you make it is what I'm seeing. I have a feeling I'm going to have a mixed amount of viewers that come to this reading. And one side is people who constantly start and stop things and may kind of lie to themselves about this kind of habit they have. And then I have another group of individuals where it's the people that are in their life that are constantly starting and stopping and doing new things and leaving and then coming back and then never really putting roots down or thinking about how they can progress forward when they do make a mistake. And then somewhere in the middle, I see one of the biggest blocks is starting off as early as your childhood and watching the adults around you and how they present themselves, or how people say that they know what's best for you, but in reality, they didn't know what's best for them. The affirmation for this card is, I am patient and understanding. You have to be patient with yourself when you do make a mistake, when you make a fool of yourself, or when you don't understand why a certain situation unfolded the way it did. Be patient. This is back to the developing routines and rituals, or making a routine ritual by making it sacred. If you're someone that tends to send a message in the heat of the moment when you are burnt out or when your needs are unmet, this is asking you, before you leap off that cliff, take a moment to breathe, maybe sleep on it, then wake up in the morning and take care of your breakfast needs, drink some water, and then see if maybe it wasn't a them, it was more like I just wasn't in the right headspace. But I am patient and understanding. This is what's going to help you make your flow unrestricted, to kind of like focus on what is blocking you or creating a dam. The third card here, now that we're leaning in over this, is the spring, the source, the collective can tap into to help replenish themselves. We have the Knight of Wands upright, and I am obsessed with the imagery because I feel the personality truly comes out in this deck alone. This is like saying you need to take a hold of your horse. Your horse was here and it was being guided by its instincts, and you've kind of been letting it lead you astray. Or even if you start to notice this is something that you see in another person, but trust in your ability to actually conquer whatever it is that you set out to do. Trust in your own instincts and what they can reveal. This card is saying move, move, move. Yes, it's good to pause when you need to, because there's this needing to understand, why do I really want to start something new? Why do I really want to leave my old home behind? Why do I want to leave my workplace behind? Why do I want to start a new course? Or if this is for somebody that is in college, like, why do I want to, like, when I'm learning something and then I'm like, oh, well, I already know everything, or I just can't understand the subject that I'm learning, and I would much rather learn something else that is much more easier for me to ingest. But when you've had that moment to kind of like think about what you need to be carrying to move yourself forward, don't let yourself get stuck or held up. Or when you find that you make it to this edge and it's like, oh, well, there's nowhere to go from here, it's a cliff. It's like, do you have tools in order to climb down this cliff? Or do you have a way of being able to kind of like turn back, maybe reflect, and see if there was a path that could have been revealed if you had had your eyes open? So now your eyes are brightly open because you've seen that you were being kind of like led to this point where you needed to trust your instincts and understand when your instincts kind of like went down what's the word? Went down the wrong road. It's like it wasn't actually what was in your best alignment. This card is asking you to take yourself seriously and to decide what is really your mission or your goal. This is asking you to turn a light on your shadows, because this card is it's at night and I see this moon. But turn a light on your shadows that create illusions alongside with the moon, like moon in tarot. And to think about what ways in which you can acknowledge something can be too excessive, such as too much positivity can be a bad thing, or telling someone that comes up to you and says, oh, well, we're having to make some cuts, we're having to change your position, but because you're always positive, they think that they can just come up to you and put you wherever they want to put you. And it's like, I'm going to lie to myself like Pinocchio. I'm going to lie that I am okay with things as they are, and I am okay with people just constantly coming into my life and changing things up for me without my permission. And this Knight of Wands is saying that can be excessive, and it's excessive to lie to yourself all the time. This card is asking you to notice when you rush into things, or just when someone comes up to you and they say, oh, by the way, they're opening up a branch, or they're opening up a business downtown, and they are wanting to offer a career or position for you. Or even in your relationships, it's like, hey, I know this person that is single, and they've been eyeing you, and I think that they want to start something with you. And so you allow yourself to kind of like perk up, and then you're like, okay, yeah, heck yeah, let's try this. And then you find out that it's like you weren't the person that they were thinking of. It was just someone kind of coming in and saying it with almost like an intention to kind of like, it's like someone is kind of like leading you down a road and giving you these crumbs, and you have been picking up these crumbs this entire time. And now you're very angry. It was like there was a promise that was made that didn't follow through. It's you told me that I had this position. You told me that if I interviewed for this, that I was the only candidate that was being interviewed, and I more than likely had it. So I went ahead and packed everything in my home to get ready for this move. And then come to find out that I don't have the position. I'm actually going to get paid less, and I'm actually going to have to step down, and I've lost my old position where I came from. But I know that's a very specific situation, but it's like when people don't shine a light on the whole thing, when you don't ask questions about the whole thing or investigate what it is that is being said, this card is asking you to open your eyes and say, put your foot down and say, now listen here. This is a conversation that needs to happen, and I'm not just going to turn, my nose to the side. I'm not going to take this blindly. But the Knight of Wands is all about like fast movement, things that can burn out real quickly. And if you notice this about yourself, like it's when you see your senses become very triggered, this is asking you to notice when they become triggered, or when you feel that fight or flight where I need to start something new. And to notice when you become scared of missing an opportunity. It's like, if I don't do something about this right now, that person will not look at me. That person will find somebody else to woo or to settle down with, or even if it's like you hear the thing where somebody comes in and says they know what's best for you, and they say that person doesn't have the best intentions for you. That person has been in many relationships. That person has done this, this, and this. And it's like, is it true? Like, is there some truth to it? Is this something that you should probably ask that individual personally rather than letting a rumor kind of like deter you from having a fulfilling relationship? Or can you recognize when this is a true thing about that individual? They are in and out of relationships. They don't want to settle down. Does it need more discretion? The Knight wants you to really think about what causes you to be swayed off your feet, or wear those rose-colored glasses, or literally if the person is the whole damn rose-colored horse. What will you settle for? Are you going to settle for less, or are you just going to say this is all that you deserve? Make a spring list, resource list. So what is going to help you tap more into replenishing yourself is to make a list of everything that truly does work for you, what your needs are, and if the plans and goals that you have are no longer helping you, or they kind of like burn you out or make you feel negative, then those are the things that need to be eliminated off your list. Start to become eager to impress yourself rather than what trick you can perform. Because it looks like you have been performing tricks your entire life just to make someone else happy. And honestly, you're starting to feel like you're pissed. It's like, I don't know what I have to do to get this horse to be more stable and settle down. I've done everything. I've changed my outfit. I've changed my hair color. I tried to make them see that I am worth beginning something with. But now I'm starting to see all their shadows. I'm starting to see all the negative red flags that are being revealed in front of me. And I know I'm saying this about a relationship, but this can talk about your workplace, where you have leaders that are working in there that are basically, they're like, oh, we have the best of the best of the best. And then it's like, can you not see how unhappy people are? Can you see that? This makes me think of a manager with the Knight of Wands. Like, this is like someone that is coming up within the business and hasn't developed a connection yet with those that they are with. It's like they're very fleeting in their responses with others. And it's like, unless the person that they're working with has something to give to them, they probably will not work with that individual, and they'll probably send them packing. And if that is the case, this is asking you to know what you are worth and to not settle for less, and to remember all the positive things that you have done for your company, your career, wherever that may be, your relationships, and to say, listen, you thought you were running the show, but in reality, I'm the one that's been running the show. I'm the one that's been carrying the load. I'm the one that's had to start over time and time again every time something new comes into my life and I have to make changes. And I'm no longer making changes unless I truly want to be making those changes. And the affirmation we have here is I am positive. And even when people say, oh, well, you're being negative and just not compromising with us. And that isn't the case. If you're always having to compromise and it's not even a collaboration where there's mutual benefits, then that's not fair to you. That's not fair to your sacral needs. This is basically saying that you don't have a right to have needs when they are ignored. But the affirmation here to help you with your spring is to be very positive, to see the positive side of things, and to see that maybe there's something here this person is going to reveal about their character reveal something about myself even, and maybe there's something I can learn here ultimately. I just need to see what positivity I can take from a bad situation, even if we are working with our inner child, trying to see, even though this may have been a need that was not met, the positive side here is you are creating the dynamic in which you do take care of your need, where you can be a leader and make positive changes in your life. The fourth card is the dance. How can you embody your flow? So we have the Page of Wands here. So this whole reading has been kind of like leading into that childlike wonder, going within and assessing where you want to stand in life. But this card is asking you to be curious, prioritize play and pleasure every day. Not let it build up to you feel as if you need to go out and party, and then it spirals into more bad consequences and things, and then you're like, how did I even get here? But it's like, allow yourself to have fun, allow yourself to play, allow yourself to create experiences that bring the most pleasure to you. Fire says, look at what inspires you when it's not extreme. So even though these are mountains, but imagine that the mountain is helping give you wings, all these obstacles that you've overcome in your life and had to learn from. And these are wings that have been able to help you fly higher than the stick that was given to you. The this is what I expect of you. And notice that sometimes the knight has to step back and get off the horse that has been leading you to the cliff. And when I got to this part in your reading, I noticed there it was like I seen a movie scene kind of like play out where the horse had a scent and became blinded almost, but the horse had a scent. The fool, whoever this is, was carrying a rose to throw off the cliff. The horse then took charge and became blinded, but before it left off the cliff, you remembered how tall your expectations and worth are in the page. You may have gotten a scar from the fall, because this makes me think of a scar. So yeah, you did have to jump off this horse. Yeah, you did have to hit the ground pretty hard to kind of come to your senses. But you have this strong determination where you are refusing to make the same mistake here. You are starting to measure what you can actually do. This is where your hand is, and this is where your other hand is. This is what you can actually do, where you prosper. And you're looking at what is taking the most energy. Is it your home? Is it work? Is it hobbies, passions, relationships? But you were taking this time to really look and see what has growth. And you're not focusing on what didn't grow below your hand. And it's very black, but your eyes and your attention is focusing on this. And I love that the moon is out, and it looks as if it actually got some rest compared to the sun card over here. Here, let me pick it up. Look at the difference. That sun looks very tired here. And then here it's like after you had some time for reflection and you've had some time to really realign what has been taking your energy away from you and what you are worth, something is starting to form now. When the sun becomes too much, Allow yourself to carry a pinned hat with you. And this is a symbology thing here. But carry a pinned hat with you to keep you cool. And so it doesn't get swept up in the heat's wind. This can talk about having a journal nearby so you can really process your emotions, your ideas. Like, this is a card where you have a lot of ideas and hobbies that you want to start, or even learn something new. This an art style. But this is just to see, just to play, but giving yourself room to make mistakes. And in that book I was talking about, in one of the parts of this reading, Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell, there was a professor that gave his college students an opportunity to give themselves at least 30 times to mistake and make a failure, but each time that they did make a mistake, to see what they can learn from that. And by giving yourself room to, expect that there is going to be some setbacks, expect that there will be some delays, expect that this may not be the thing you actually want to do, and that's okay. But allow yourself to continue to learn and play with it. Allow yourself to be surprised. The page is asking you, while you are doing this dance, while you are trying to find your flow, channel any unfocused energy that may be in another. Even in the past, if you're constantly thinking about the past, if you're constantly thinking about all the times you've had to leave something that didn't work out, or when you planted something and you only seen that one flower out of, the blooms that hadn't just bloomed yet. If you had just left that flower, if you left the bush where it was, you would have eventually seen a whole rose bush. But this is asking you to really channel that unfocused energy into practical and tangible tasks that you can achieve. You're not holding the whole stick. You're looking at ways in which you will be successful here. You're being that student. And the other thing this can talk about in your relationships, if you notice that it's hard for you to kind of like manage your libido, or things have become stale in your relationship, spice it up. Make a board game night, like Essential Couple Dice, or a new love game, or just find ways where you don't feel embarrassed, or it's like, I don't think someone will want to try something new. I don't think my partner will be up to trying something new. I have all of this unexpressed energy within me, but I need to find ways to kind of like spread it out, where I'm not trying to do everything at once. And I am noticing a lot of different time periods, or the way the sky looks in each of these cards. If you are a night owl, there's no shame for being a night owl. When people are like, well, you need to be an early bird, because you know what they say about the early bird, and it's like you have this expectation to always be the person that gets up early, when in reality you are more productive at night, or maybe you're productive at dusk or dawn, whatever the case may be. Like, find where you flow the best. Maybe there's just something about the way the air smells differently in the morning time, or the air smells differently at night time. But there's always going to be worms in the ground. And whenever you're ready to dig for those worms, they will be there, regardless if it is the morning or the evening or the night. But notice when your energy is getting depleted here. And I'm also like, back to the sunscreen. Like, I encourage some sunscreen here with the sun out and all these different, it's like I went out into the sun and got very burned. And now I understand why it's important to wear sunscreen. I'm feeling that as well. The affirmation here is, I am wonderful. And there's actually two for the Page of Wands. And I am prosperous. You're much more prosperous when you realign where you have been spending most of your focus and intention in. And even when you have to do things at a different time, or you want to explore something new, you are still wonderful when you have to say no. You are still worthy of becoming prosperous. Like, you were prosperous as a student. I'm just hearing, I don't want to go back to school, Mom. That's okay. Do right by you in this instant. The fifth card is actually two cards, and it is the Knight of Pentacles and the Five of Wands in reverse. And I'll leave it kind of upright so y'all can kind of see the imagery. I love when the Knight of Pentacles comes out every time I talk about a routine, or I'm trying to develop a better ritual or honor specific needs or to manifest more in my life. And like, the Knight came out in one of my readings that I did, the exact same reading for this, but I did for myself, and he came out in that reading as well. But this is something we can learn about ourselves. But here, there's the overflow, what it becomes possible and becomes a gift here when you're taking care of your sacral needs. You're starting to slow down before reacting. You're becoming more methodical and walking. You're not running, you're not leaping, you're not burning yourself out. You're not jumping into a new thing without first kind of like understanding how it will create more manifestation for you. This is what feels practical and deserving of your manifestational gifts. Your ability to grow and shape things, not just in the mental heart realm, but also the physical realm. You're going to prevent more drama from the outside from coming on the inside. This can even talk about like when you have done something new in your life and it was a failure, it was a big mistake. You're not allowing that failure or mistake, especially if you're somebody that used to have rose-colored glasses, and it's like your desires took a hold of your senses and you pursued something that probably wasn't good for you. You're not holding that within you. You're not letting that outside to come on the inside. And you're speculating if what you are given will bring more progression or stall growth and inspiration. You and your instincts, because look at this. The beginning I'm focusing on where my nose is taking me. And then our instincts was like, whoa, you're about to fall off a cliff and your eyes are closed. And then your instincts, you cut them off, and then you kept your eyes open, but you were disregarding what was best for you. And then fast forward over here where you're finally looking at each other. You're paying attention to what is going to help propel you forward. You are making eye contact and working together to see what is stable, nurturing, generous, and receptive. There's this inner collaboration going on. And just like it is in this picture where she has a scar on her arm, there's a scar right here, but you're not focused on the past. This is what helped you determine the best way in which you should ride your horse. Probably not beating the horse, but carrying something along with you to sustain you while you are on this journey, this fool's journey of beginning something new. You know that you need to pack resources. You know that you need to pack a lunch. You know that you need to wear your armor and find things that are comfortable for you and not just going to kind of like, this almost looks like a neck, oh gosh, what is it? A neck brace for people who get into car accidents and stuff. But it's like you're being very more careful. Side note, while I am thinking about this, you're taking less risks. And when you are out in public or when you're driving, I've been down this road before, but don't drive when you're angry. Don't send a message when you're furious. Don't do something that becomes reckless in the moment. But that's just a small side note there. But you're being very responsible in this moment and thinking carefully, okay, should I be going down this road? Should I put my phone away for a moment? People may try to sell you what they think will make you buy into their game, but stooping to their, or just, how do I say this? People want you to buy into their game by stooping to their level. They're going to do everything that they can to make you feel and react as they do. But you have your own mission here. Look at the black wand in this picture. You could have been held up in conflict with these other individuals, these other pursuits. This could be past mistakes. This can be all the times things didn't work out or when people try to bring you into their drama. But rather than putting your effort into that, you're keeping it back and saying, I'm not going to participate in that. I'm not going to allow myself to be held or stuck any longer. It's solid, it's sturdy, and it has boundaries. And the only person that you're wanting to compete with is yourself. So always try to give yourself room to cool down before emotional arguments. If you know you're about to be dragged into something or there's misinformation being spread, look up, be that student and see what you can accumulate, what you can bring to the table. This is my proof that I have right now. This is maybe even like when you're competing in a very competitive career field or school, or if you notice that, you're competing for the same person that everybody's competing with. And I do like to say you should never compete for somebody that has you as a choice. You should be the only choice. And you may even find that, well, I'm not going to take my coin and I'm not going to fight for the same individual that everybody's fighting for. I'm actually going to step back and invest in myself. But the biggest thing is arguments, debates, rivalry, competition become less serious. You figure your role out and what you play with others, like your role and the role that you play with others, you figure it out and you determine how you want to live more clearly. And when others make a joke about what it is that you're doing, or how do I say this? With the 5 of Wands, if you find that when you make a mistake and people kind of like laugh about it, let it kind of like, is there any truth to it? Or like when people say that anytime a relationship ends and I'm having to start a new one, I just jump into the next relationship without thinking about things that I need to heal and work on. Or whenever you're like, well, this person is always leaving their position, they're always starting a new job, or they're changing their subject matter. And it's like, well, why do I do those things? For people to say those things, but to not let it be personal and, kind of like, rather than react to what people are saying, kind of like take a step back and reevaluate and change their you shouldn't have to change anyone else's opinion but your own about yourself. If it's something you can change, then do it because it feels good for you and it's something you actually want to improve on, not because other people expect you to act or play a certain role. This is also a great opportunity to maybe look into the team that you actually want to be on. Sometimes it can even talk about sports and stuff. So if you're somebody that wanted to do a sport or you wanted to be more active and build something in your life, this is asking you to look for a team that aligns to your values. And if you see conflict, then you know that that's not the team that's going to help you build what it is that you're wanting to build in your life. But don't be swept in what people say that they can do with your hard-earned money. Also, side note, routine can be sexy if you make it sexy. So if you're someone that hates doing something over and over and over again at the same time, you can always do it at a different time of the day. So if, for instance, like yoga is something that I do every day. Sometimes I do it in the morning, sometimes I do it in the evening. Or maybe it's not even yoga I'm doing. I decide, well, I'm going to do meditation today instead because I'm feeling like I pushed myself too hard. But notice where restrictions and conflict are setting in your body. The affirmation here is, I am inspirational. You are inspirational. You proving everybody to start thinking about how they treat you, how they talk about you, how they perceive you, by walking away, and the only thing that they have left of being in the play that you're in is watching how you succeed, watching how you take moments to pause, watching how when you do those unsexy things, those routines you don't want to do, you become the most attractive thing that everybody wants, everybody desires. You're no longer trying to impress anybody but yourself. People don't know what your next thought is. I don't have any sword cards here, so people that thought they know you don't actually know you. It's like where you last were, they can't find you. So when they try to bring drama into your life, it's like, oh, the last place I seen him was on the hill. Well, you're not there. Or like, oh, the last place I seen them, they were with this person. Well, you're no longer with that person or establishment. Or they're like, oh, well, I seen that they got wings. So obviously they're about to take an airplane somewhere. They're about to fly off somewhere. And it's like they can't find you. Because you have this protective field around you by the overflow that is created. This is a gift that you are being given. You can observe the drama from a much higher perspective by being on this horse now. When you're kind of like looking at each other and you're like, oh God, we've been down that road before. We ain't doing that again. All right, so the last card is the broom of the deck, and this is what our subconscious is sweeping away for us to help us bring in more flow. So we have the Six of Wands, and I'm so very proud of you. I'm very proud of your ability to grow. I'm proud of you to be able to kind of like turn within and be really happy about the things that have made you successful, all the battles where you have been victorious and have really helped you develop that confidence that you need to move forward. This is your time to celebrate. Anytime you make a major move in the right direction, when you start something new and you start it from a place of, I remember what was successful for me. I understand that I wasn't so good at this, but I'm going to focus on my strengths now. I'm going to remember how unchecked energy can prevent me from having the most positive results in my life. And I understand what burnout really is. And I don't have to change who I am to meet this standard that everybody expects me to be. I know what helps me flourish. I know what has my full attention now. I know where my conflicts are in my life. I know what is causing the most drama. I know what is worth my time fighting for. And I don't have to constantly prove myself to others who expect me to constantly win. I learn from failure. I learn from my losses. My losses do not determine my worth. They determine how I persevere. They determine how resilient I am. They determine how easy it is for me to snap back and get back into the groove of things. Your subconscious is sweeping self-validation into your life. Your personal victories, the wins that make you want to win, the losses that make you want to grow even more. The affirmation here is, I am liberated. You are much freer now. You are freer from the need for validation from others. You are choosing what validates you, what makes you feel good. You're validating and freeing any kind of emotional baggage that may have held you down, as if you've been carrying a backpack that had bricks in it this entire time that you've been trying to be positive about. But as soon as you stopped faking that and you put the bag down, maybe you were going to this cliff to throw, okay, I know I don't need to carry this in my life. I don't need to be in relationships that only give me one source of validation. I'm going to throw those off the side because they have made me a fool. They have made me impatient. They have denied my ability to understand what is actually going on. And I'm allowing myself to be more positive, to move more with intention in my life, to be a student, to take my coin back and invest it where I know is best for me, where I will have these victories, where I will have this laurel wreath around my head that is my crown. I am crowning myself. I'm not crowning anybody else. I've been doing that my entire life. I've been playing the jester for a king when I was the king. I was the queen. I am liberated now. I am much more freer now by taking care of my sacral needs. I am more sacred now than I was before, and I can feel it. Disappointment is not the end. It is okay to be disappointed. It is okay to make mistakes. We do the best that we can with the knowledge that we have, but not everything will always turn out as we hope. This is a part of life, and though it may feel like the end, it most certainly is not. Do not let disappointments or the fear of disappointment keep you from enjoying your life. My inner child knows what true needs are. What are my needs versus another's? My inner child knows that my needs are just as important. That I'm not a disappointment when I make a mistake. I'm not a disappointment when I have to choose what is best for me. The Divine Feminine, Divine Oracle is you are highly capable of completing the task, but can someone help? The load that you have been carrying that wasn't yours to carry, you can now drop. Someone else can pick it up. When you are beginning something and putting yourself first, don't stop for fear that it's going to put more work on someone else. You're being more patient and more understanding of what it is that you need to start. And whatever task you've had that belonged to another person, you can give to them. Or when you are taking care of a routine that is solely yours, asking someone to pick up so you can do that is very rewarding. And if you're worried that someone is going to mess it up, like an example would be giving someone the washing dishes. That's an example. Like if you have a specific way of washing dishes, or if you have a specific way of mowing the yard, or a specific way of cleaning your home, show others how you clean your home, explain why you do the things that you do, so that way it can help them understand why you feel it is important and why they should be able to meet you where your standards are, because you meet them where their standards are. And the self-care, self-love, close your eyes and remember your greatness. Remember how great you are. Actually feel it. Feel how great you are. But my dears, that is the Sacral Collective reading that I have here today. And if it was a little bit all over the place and a little kind of chaotic, the Knight of Wands was like really driving it all over the place. But it's like the further we got down here, we finally got to where we needed to be, where we were validating ourselves rather than expecting others to validate us, where people have left us kind of like out. But I am going to go ahead and include the meditation in the timestamps for this reading, so that way you can practice a sacral meditation if you want to on your own time, and anything else that you can do to kind of like really help you with your sacral energy. All right, so this Sacral Chakra Reset is a 5-minute meditation. So allow yourself to find a comfy seat or lie down. Let your hands rest on your lower belly, just about 2 inches below your navel. This is your sacral center. Close your eyes. Take 2 big sighs out of your mouth, like you're deflating stress. Within the first minute, we are grounding and allowing flow to come through. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. Imagine you're pulling in warm orange light. Breathe out for 6 counts. Let your belly soften like water is releasing. And with each exhale, silently say, I am allowed to feel. I am safe to flow. I am total divine. I am patient and understanding. I am positive. I am wonderful. I am prosperous. I am inspirational. I am liberated. Within that second minute, we're going to use the VAM mantra and visualization. You want to keep breathing easy. Start gently toning the sound Vam, the seed sound for the sacral chakra. And like in the root meditation, it may sound silly. You can go very low, or if you are someone that has a very light voice, you can go lighter. But Vam, like a hum that vibrates through your pelvis. Do it 7 times slow. As you chant, picture a small orange lotus or glowing pool of water in your lower belly. Each Vam makes the water brighter, warmer, rippling outward. If emotions pop up, that is good. Let them be waves. You don't have to fix them. By minute 3, focus on awakening your hips. While you're still seated, start making tiny circles with your pelvis, like you're stirring that orange water. Go clockwise for 30 seconds, and then counterclockwise for 30 seconds. And on your last breath in, gather all that orange warmth. Exhale and say out loud or in your head, my creativity flows, my pleasure is sacred. Then wiggle your fingers, your toes, and open your eyes. To help you amplify this experience with this meditation, put on some water sounds or soft drums. Maybe put a scent like orange or cinnamon oil if you have it. And then after you finish it, drink a glass of water or orange-infused water to honor the water's element. Meditation is one of the benefits that you can use to help you focus on your chakra system, especially with our sacral. There are things that you can do to really help this, and one of those is physical exercise to kind of support the sacral chakra. Movement is key because it's about flow. So if you do any kind of exercises, put emphasis on your hips, your pelvis, and your lower abs. You can do this if you do practice yoga. Focus on the ones that open up your hips, like butterfly pose, goddess pose, recline bound ankle, reverse warrior, and seated forward bend. Dancing, hip circles, belly dancing, or anything that gets your hips swaying is a form of fluid movement. The other thing is somatic work, where you focus on the mobility of your pelvis, your nerve stimulation in your vagus nerve, and non-linear movement to stimulate interoception and repair or restore parasympathetic tone. The other thing you can do if you do find that there is some difficulty with movement, or it's like meditation is easy, but maybe there's some issues because of physical disabilities, one of the things you can do is water therapy, such as bathing, swimming, or walking by water, since the element is water. But those are just some things that you can do to really create that sacred space, so that way you can develop a routine on honoring your sacral needs. And I hope you enjoyed this reading and you're able to practice meditation. Always let me know in the comments if you have a tip or a trick that you use that helps you, or if you have any insights on the chakra system, or if you have any questions even, because this reading was kind of like all over the place. Now, always remember to take it at your own pace. Don't try to force something. Don't try to make it click. If you are going to be doing something new, always check in with your doctor, especially if you have a physical disability that would prevent you from doing some of the things that I mentioned earlier in this meditation. But do what is right for you and really listen and pay attention to what your body says to you. But if you enjoyed this, please let me know. That's one of the best ways to support my channel. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here, guys. And I really hope y'all have a blessed day. And I can't wait to see y'all in the next reading where we will focus on the solar plexus. Bye.